All right, here we are. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest wellness webinar. I am Carla Thomas. I'm going to be taking tonight. I'm a Perth-based holistic health coach, an author, a speaker, an ambassador for Hempel Juice Plus and Fearless Activewear, and just all-round health nut. And tonight on our webinar, I'm going to be interviewing the amazing Nikki. Now, do you say Heyder? Or
Heyder, yeah.
Heyder? Okay, I never know if it's Heyder. Well, Heyder was what I had. So Nikki is a true balance seeker. She's a qualified nutritionist. She's a yoga teacher. She's also a mental health counsellor, so working with women from all over the world and to find that sense of equilibrium between mind, body and spirit. She spent years trying to understand the way that the human body works and strives to understand each and every body she works with to create individualized, sustainable protocols which last a lifetime, which is what we're all about here at the GC Movement, lifestyles and what we can do for life. So with the use of integration of nutritional medicine, mindfulness, counselling and movement, it enables her to provide a very unique approach to mind-body medicine, which I love, is why I have you on. So Nikki, welcome.
Thank you.
So excited to have you on. And as I've said before, just purely more because I just love to speak to you all the time anyway, in the few times that we have. And there's nothing better than listening and learning from inspiring people. I'm forever learning.
Definitely.
Definitely one of those people when I creep on your Instagram and look at your stories and everything. I love seeing what you're up to and what you love to cook up, because I know that's a shared passion for sure.
It sure is.
So basically, we are going to be talking all about you and your story, the work that you do, and also how you manage to work your business now, having headed back to Bali. And, I promised people that we're going to have real talk. So, Nikki, for me today, real is I'm still in this morning's gym, sweaty gear, getting the shower, washing my hair, because the humidity in Perth today is basically competing with Bali big time.
Oh, wow.
So I think I've managed some concealer and mascara. So that's my real talk for today. But how about you? How's your day been?
My day's been good. I got up at 6 a.m. and taught private yoga. So I teach privates here in Bali, as well as teach at like actual yoga shalas. So I did that at 6 o'clock, and then I went and had brekkie with a girlfriend. Then I had a Skype consultation online, and then my sister popped over, so I saw her for a bit. And then my dog had to have acupuncture because she's getting old and her leg's getting a little bit, she's starting to get arthritis in her leg. And there's an amazing Chinese medicine vet here in Bali who actually comes and does animal acupuncture. So she came over and Bella had all the needles in her arm today, which was exciting.
I believe in that. A friend of mine who's an what is he? What does everyone have here again? His name's Strawny. What's the typical Weiser breed? Everyone has them. Boys love them. I'm having a mental blank.
The like stocky one?
Yeah, somebody in the chat. We're having mental blanks. Anyway, he gets, no, not a pug. The big ones, the sort of, you get an English.
A staffy.
Staffy, that's it. So she's been raving about the acupuncture. So yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So I've been doing that. So Bella's just started today with her acupuncturist, which is quite exciting. And then I had and then I sat down and did a bunch of emails. And then I've got this, and then I've got to teach a full moon class tonight at 7 o'clock. And then I'll come home to bed and I fly to Sri Lanka in 2 days to run a 1 week yoga and nutrition women's retreat. So
yeah, I've been looking at that. And thank you. That's given us such a good insight already into
There's an insight into my days.
Yeah. Like too, which is cool. We'll flip back to that. But look, I think to begin with, obviously I've had the privilege of getting to know a bit about your background story just from our chats, but I'm such a big fan of connecting to people on that, and I know that people would find it fascinating too. So I'd love for you to just kick off sharing, I guess, your journey into the foray of health and wellness, and like what inspired you to get into this industry.
Yeah, for sure. So my first degree was actually in human resource management. So it was in HR management and human behaviour, and I studied that at Curtin, and I did my bachelor in that, and I started working in HR for a company that actually like went into other companies in order to basically like audit their staff. So they wanted to know, you know, are they happy? Are they following their succession plan? Are they how are their performance reviews? Do they have performance review systems? All that type of thing. And so I guess my interest in human behaviour started a long time ago, even though I thought after I finished that degree and worked in HR for 4 or 5 years and then decided to do nutrition, that was a waste of a degree. It's actually come full circle, and I actually use it and draw on it a lot in my day-to-day work. So I worked in HR predominantly actually with law firms. I like went into law firms and like audited their staff. And I did that for about 4.5 years, and I actually really enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it and loved it. But my passion was always with food, and it wasn't necessarily with nutrition. It was just with food. I used to love cooking. Like cooking was my thing, and I really loved it. It brought me a lot of peace and a lot of joy. And, you know, I brought up in a very multicultural family, so it was always like my vibe, and I loved cooking. And I just had this weird sort of epiphany one day when I was in the office that, you know, I spend all day telling other people what to do with their careers, and I wasn't really pursuing my passion. And so I made this decision that I was going to go and work as a kitchen hand in a restaurant. And so I started doing that, and my boss was like, I will see you in 3 months. Like, you are not going to stay working in a kitchen. And I ended up staying and working in this restaurant for the next like 4.5 years after that. And it was actually during that time that I noticed my body changed a lot. It was already changing a lot in the office, in the sense that I had a really poor, very classic, like high stress office job kind of diet where I wasn't really eating much, and I was living on coffee and blueberry muffins and rice paper rolls. And then at nighttime I would, you know, eat pasta and fall asleep and wake up and do it all over again. And I was really like kind of striving for like this diet and that diet, and, you know, following the girl that sat at the desk next to me and like all that type of thing. And then I started working in a kitchen, so that was like 4:30 a.m. starts, and working at one point I was working 7 days a week, so like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning until 4:30, 5 o'clock that afternoon. And yeah, that took a toll on my body, and I was just, you know, like recurring candida, just snacking on bread and sugar and not eating properly, having like 3-4 coffees a day, not drinking enough water. And then like I was still very much in my party kind of phase of my life. So I was partying whenever I would party some nights on the weekends, and then like maybe have 45 minutes of sleep and go into the kitchen.
I know. So, do you ever think how we used to do that? You know, Friday, Saturday,
I don't know how we do it. But yeah, that was kind of my life. And then I went, okay, I've got to do something about this. So I started more so experimenting with the food side of things, and going, okay, well, you know, like this is not good for me. Like, how can I still make it taste good, and kind of keep the same concept, so I don't feel like I'm just eating steamed chicken and steamed broccoli, because it's so like it just wasn't part of my palate. So I started experimenting with like brown rice risotto, and, you know, adding quinoa to salads and making salads more inviting, and, you know, what other pastas can I use, and how can I bake using almond meal and not flour, and all of that type of thing. And then I thought, oh, you know what, I really enjoy this. So then I did a 1-year like nutritional counselling certification, just to see if that's what I wanted to do before I pursued the next 3-year advanced diploma in nutritional medicine. So that's what I then did after that. But the counselling certification actually gave me like counselling tools as well. And then after that, I actually did my wellness coaching and counselling with Life Coaching Australia. So I did that, and then that kind of added another layer and things to my toolbox. And then I left at the kitchen when I finished my studies, started a health food business, and yeah, that took me down a whole nother path for the next 7 years. Even though I loved it, and at the time I thought that's what I wanted to do, it was always a distraction away from me working one-on-one with people. So I'd kind of like double in working one-on-one with people and running workshops and retreats and what have you, but then the cafe or the catering company or whatever would always pull me back in, and a fridge would break and staff wouldn't turn up and something was wrong and there was money issues and like all these things. And so you kind of never got to focus, or I never really got to focus on what it is that now I realize I wanted to do, because I was constantly running this thing in the background, which, now I'm very lucky has merged with another business, is still running, and I've stepped away operationally. It means I can be at Bali, and I get to focus on what I want to do, which is like connecting with and working with women on a one-on-one or group basis, in a more intimate way, having learnt what I've learnt, I guess, over my life.
Yeah. Oh my God, I listened to you, Nikki, and I literally think, how the hell have you crammed all of that in?
I don't know.
You're only 30, 31.
I'll be 31 next month.
That's right. So I think about, how you've crammed all that in, and it's true though, everything sort of leads to the next thing that you need to learn. And, I can imagine, like, especially even in your 20s, like, to run your own business is hard enough, but then to run the cafe. So for those who don't know, who are listening, you had Nude in Leaderville, which I was sad about when you closed because I loved that spot. And now you're running Pure Nude, which is, maybe tell everyone who's listening a little bit about that.
So Pure Nude is basically Nude merged with Pure Glow. So Pure Glow was the cold pressed juice company in Perth, and I had Nude, and Rihanna, who is the director of Pure Glow, and I got together about a year and a half ago probably now, and made a decision that basically they were a delivery cold pressed juice company, but they were recognizing that, in order to progress as a company, they actually wanted to have something else added to what they were doing. And they probably wouldn't, it's just cold pressed juices sometimes people don't want them all the time, and so it wasn't like a sustainable business model. And for me, I didn't want to have the cafe all the time either. I was done with the cafe. The lease was, coming to an end, and I was just like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't want to have like a brick and mortar store. The overheads were huge. There was all these staff. Like, it was just like something that I just decided I wasn't really happy there anymore. And then when we came together, we just thought, at the time, when I had the cafe, people had started inquiring as to whether or not we can deliver food to their house and do like this home delivery program of Nude food to their house. And we were doing that, and we probably had about 20 people kind of signed up to it around in that time leading up to the cafe closing. And so we could see that it was something, but we didn't have the systems or the logistics to make it work. And so then when Rihanna and I got together, she was like, well, I've got the systems and I've got the logistics and the processes and the space. And, I obviously had the food and the recipes and, all of that. And so we decided to merge the two businesses together and be able to offer a full spectrum of juice and food. And so people can log on, they can order just juice or just food or just one green juice and one lunch every day, 5 days a week to their office. Like, it just gives you so many options, and that it's balanced. It's still the same quality that Nude was. The juices are phenomenal. Like, they don't have any added water. Every season they change. They're all predominantly vegetable based. So it's just a really nice, there was a lot of synchronicities that we really liked, and it kind of just solves that time for, like, I don't have time to be healthy problem, where it's not really a problem, it's just an excuse. But we kind of give people this option of going, okay, well, if you don't have time, like, we'll do it for you and we'll deliver it to you. And so that was the whole Pure and Nude.
That's so
which still runs and does, it's, if anyone hasn't tried it who's listening, like, I highly encourage you try it and give it a go. Definitely.
If anyone listens, it's like Pure as in Pure and Nude as in NOOD.com.au.
Yeah, I'll put it into the thing. Hang on.
And just for anyone listening who listens to the recording, just put the chat. So you can find you online. And I think what I love in that is sometimes it's not that what we're doing is wrong. It's just, it shows the power in collaboration where something is just missing and where you can align and sort of bridge that.
Oh, totally. And like, look, even Nude itself, like, Nude wasn't always a cafe. Like, Nude started off being a consulting business, like a one-on-one sort of nutrition like what I do now. And then it was from that was my clients were asking me, because I had background as a commercial cook or a chef, they were asking me if I could then cater for their birthdays or their kids' birthdays or whatever, because their kid was celiac or they had an allergy and they couldn't find someone who did dietary specific catering. So then it went from like that to becoming a catering business to then people saying, oh, like, you know, I'd love to have like a healthy grab and go. We don't have any grab and go type options, to then us opening a pop-up on Hay Street in the city. And we did like this first trial of healthy, fresh grab and go, which are like the first ones in Perth to do it. And that then kind of skyrocketed. And then we started stocking wholesale at different shops and IGAs and what have you. And then that whole business model ran for a while. But the wholesale system and business just was also very overwhelming, and that grew quite fast. But then I was like, oh, I don't actually know if I like this. And then it was like, do we do the cafe, do we not? And that's when we went down the cafe route. And then the cafe then, you know, was open for a few years, and then it merged into the home delivery thing. So it just very organically and very you know, yeah, God, you learn a lot, tell you that much.
Yeah, well, everything you've done would have, as you said, it would have contributed. It even goes back to what you said at the start of this, when your HR and all of that has come in helpful. You might not see at the time how something can relate, but it eventually does. And you're so multifaceted, Nikki. Like, I love that you understand that it's awesome to have different ways to do business. But for you, that lead into merging with Pure was probably because deep down in your heart, you were looking for ways to not have to be at places, and that's obviously then brought you back to Bali, where you don't
100%, yeah, 100%.
You've got that freedom. So now, obviously, you've gone from, because most of your clients, right, were, I guess, in Perth or in person. So now you've moved online, right? So how do you work like your business? How do people come to you for coaching, and what do they sort of get out of it? Because you've also done Reiki and things like that too.
So it really depends. It is a little bit different in the sense that, so all of my clients that I work with in Perth, they have just come online. So that's been very simple. A lot of them would see me in person, but some of them already saw me online anyway, so it wasn't that big a difference. So they've just simply moved online. When we do like check-ins or checkups, you know, they can just send me their latest blood results, or they can just send me their latest food diaries, and we sit like we are now and we go through it all together. In Bali, like I did in Perth, so basically it's a bit of like a multi-modality type approach if you see me in person. So it's more so we sit down, every new patient or new client completes a really, really detailed and long initial client questionnaire form, and they do a 7-day lifestyle and food tracking activity, and then that'll get sent to me along with like their blood tests if they have recently had some or need to, and as well as you know, any other bits and pieces, current medications, etc., etc. And basically we sit down for an hour, whether that be in person or whether it be over Skype, and we basically assess and break down everything that's been handed in. So my clients they're all women, but it will vary from someone who is, I have a lot of women who actually work with who have eating disorders, or who are recovering from eating disorders and who are relapsing and coming back and relapsing and coming back. So that's very common for me, and so these are women who are either addicted to laxatives, or who have suffered from bulimia, or who have been anorexic at different and hospitalized at different periods within their life. A lot of high anxiety, a lot of negative body image type stuff, and with that comes like a bit of a destroyed digestive system, as well as, you know, a malnourishment within their bodies. So we kind of really look at helping them, at not only helping them with the mind stuff and the food stuff, but also like their body physiologically. If it's in person, then the multimodality approach comes into play, where then, you know, we might sit down and talk for a little bit, and I might do the typical, you know, meal plan, or like we talk about what foods you have and we go through all of that. But then at the end of the session, you know, we might do a 15-minute Reiki session or a 20-minute guided meditation, or and I'll tweak them and tailor them to be suited to that person. So whether it be about self-love, or whether it be about, you know, nourishing your body, or feeling confident in your body, or feeling safe in your body, it'll be different things that I'll do in order to try and like help them in their mind, mentally, as well as physically as well. And then it can vary. So that's like one type of a regular client that I'll have. And the other is, you know, someone who's just really busy, who's like kind of fallen out of touch with what they're doing and how they're doing it, and they're really tired, they're quite anxious, they party on the weekends, they kind of don't really know what to eat, they're always bloated, they often have headaches and dry skin or irritable skin and things like that, and they just need a bit of an overhaul. So with someone like that, I usually work with them for no longer than 6 months, and we kind of just get everything back on track. We find a balance that suits their lifestyle. We find a diet that suits their lifestyle they can maintain. That's not a diet, I shouldn't even really use that word, but you know, we find a way of living for them that suits them, that means that they never feel like there is an end date, and they can just go on living and enjoying and feeling great in their body, as opposed to you know, trying this and then doing like, you know, high fat, low carb, and then, oh, I'm going to be paleo next week, and then, oh, I'm like in ketosis or whatever it might be. Like, it's just not sustainable, and it's not something that is good for them. And I think for me, I'm so passionate about that because I see the other end of the spectrum, and I see these women who have suffered from eating disorders from starting at a place in their life where they started with the diet, you know? So for me, I'm really passionate about not ever giving someone that option, and actually helping them to understand their body and to listen to their body. And we accomplish that through not only the tracking and the knowing, but through the meditation, the journal writing, the Reiki, the meditation, the yoga, the relaxation, all of that stuff that allows you to actually remove yourself from the world and look inward, and to be able to say, like, how do I feel today? You know, what's going on for me? And to actually be able to hear yourself, because it's very difficult. A lot of us don't know how to do it. You say, yeah, I think I feel bloated. It's like, well, do you feel bloated or do you not feel bloated? Like, you know, how do you feel? Yeah. I think I feel sad. I think I'm anxious. I'm not sure, you know, and it's like that inability to know how you feel. It's something that I try.
Questioning your intuition. Like, people don't trust that. Like you said, they go, I think, well, you know, or you don't know, or, but I'm afraid to sort of make your own decision. You're right.
Yeah. Well, they don't trust themselves.
Yeah. I mean, and I love everything. And my head's just going like this because it's so aligned with, you know, everything I believe. And we've spoken about this before. You know, it starts with the mindset before you can even get to the physical side, and that benefits naturally from that anyway. But, you know, this whole idea that we need to label what we do and what we follow, instead of just going, well, I just live, I just eat according to what I need, what I want on that day, you know, what I don't want. And there's no perfection. It's just life, you know. You're not trying to just, you're doing your best to just, I guess, know what you need every single day and listen to that, versus like, I have to follow this specifically and causing more stress on yourself, which I'm sure you see all the time, and just learning to reconnect to our own needs versus what every single article or website or magazine or whatever is telling us. And you're definitely a living product of that. And I love that you don't shy away from it. And, you know, again, more I've said to you this year through just completely owning that being a health expert doesn't make us perfect. And
oh God, no.
You know, as we said,
I was working on myself.
I was tempted to have a red wine on here already. I was like, oh, was it too early?
I know. Yeah, look, I'm very, I guess the notion of balance is a really big thing for me. I'm very, I guess I kind of see it in a way of like, if I became a millionaire and I never spent a cent, what would be the purpose of me being a millionaire? And I'm not saying you become healthy to thrash your body, but I'm just saying, like, you know, you listen to your body and you adopt healthy, like you're healthy 75, 80% of the time, so that, you know, if I do want to have a glass of wine, or if, you know, if someone's made me a brownie, I'm not going to go like, oh, sorry, I can't have that. Like, you know, so I'll know, like, yeah, yum, thank you. I'm like, I'm so grateful I get to enjoy this with you, and thank you for making it for me. And there's not one part of me that feels bad or guilty or shame for having those things, because it's just part of my life. Like, it's not like, oh, now I'm being naughty and then now I'm being good. It's like, I'm just good generally, and it means that I can enjoy all aspects of life. And also, it's like, it also comes hand in hand with listening to your body. So like, if, you know, like I'm saying, yeah, I can go out and drink wine, but if I one night don't feel like that, and I've been invited out and I'm actually feeling a bit sluggish and a bit tired, and I just feel like all I want to do is lie in bed and watch a movie and put on a face mask, then I also have no guilt or shame about saying no to that person and saying, actually, you know what? I don't feel like coming out tonight and I'm just going to stay home. And I don't feel bad about that either. So it's just this really like almost empowering sense of intuition that you can have that really honors your body and allows you to live life really freely, I suppose.
I love it, and I think it's so true, and it is empowering. It's just being aligned with what you need at that moment, and that goes to, you know, when you talk about those fad diets, and like what kills me is the cheat days, because do you know what? Tonight I might feel like a red wine with my dinner, but on a Saturday night I might not want red wine. But what? Because it's a Saturday, I'm allowed to have it, so I have to do it. You know, like it's exactly what you said, and it's listening to what you want. And one question I had down that I wanted to, because I am watching the time, ask you, and it's again because especially being in the health industry, people often say, but if you're so healthy, why do you need to have extra things, or why do you need to take this, or why would you have herbs, or why would you have supplements and stuff if you live so good? And so there's this sort of argument about, because you're massive on food, obviously, and obviously healing and, you know, fueling with that. What is your stance? And I ask every expert I have on here, what is your stance when it comes to having additional ingredients and supplementations of sorts as part of a healthy or daily regime?
Yeah, okay. I think it's a great question, and it's I think it differs for everybody. Not everybody's body absorbs nutrients as well as some others. And I think the reality is that not everybody, even if you are really healthy, gets everything from their food. Not only because a lot of the time certain minerals and vitamins aren't in our soil as much as they used to be, but you know, if you look at me, like, yeah, I'm healthy, I'm a nutritionist, I'm a yoga teacher, but I'm also busy. And like sometimes I don't have a full spectrum of vitamins and minerals in my day. If it's the middle of winter and I'm, you know, in Perth, or if I'm in Jakarta or Singapore or something like that, and there's not much sunshine and I'm inside all day, I'm going to take a vitamin D. Do you know what I mean? Like supplementation is something that if I'm all of a sudden exercising a lot more, or if I'm all of a sudden doing, you know, teaching 2 power vinyasas a day, I'll look at my body and go, okay, like I'm definitely using up my magnesium stores. I'll definitely need a magnesium supplement in order to like help me, because what I'm getting from my food isn't going to equal what my body needs with the exertion that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. If there's a flu going around, if there's a change in season, if someone's had, you know, antibiotics recently, there are so many different things and different scenarios that will happen that can affect like the bioavailability or the absorption of nutrients into your system, and whether or not your body would actually benefit from having something in a supplementation way in order to help them through that period of time. It doesn't have to be forever, but for some people it is. You know, I've worked with many women who are vegan, for example, who there's nothing wrong with that, but unfortunately their body just does not absorb non-HAM iron, like, or vegetable-based iron like it should, and they don't want to eat meat, so therefore they need to have an iron supplement. That's just what they need to do. So each body is different, and I think especially if people are busy and don't have the time to dedicate to, like, you know, a really well balanced meal every single meal, because that is a reality of life, then that's when, you know, supplementation doesn't really hurt.
And I love the way you said that sometimes it's seasonal, and it's so true. Like sometimes I am getting certain herb mixes from my naturopath when I need it, but I don't need it all the time. And sometimes I might up the magnesium, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have probiotics mainly when I travel, because I know I'm not going to get enough from my food sources. But when I'm at home, I feel like I'm okay. And I think that's a really good way to look at it as well. And yeah. Just to find what works you, and often like go to an expert or practitioner, or look at your bloods and things like that too. I think it'd be really important, because one thing
definitely
people like to just feel, if I take everything available on the shelf, then I'm going to be okay, which is generally
well, you don't really want to be doing that. And also you want to know the quality. I think that's a big thing as well, is like going to the chemist and just grabbing whatever. You want to know where the products are actually coming from and what they're made of is a really big thing as well. So that's a big, I think a lot of people don't think about that when they go and get supplements. It's just like any other food, you know, you want to know where it's coming from, where it's made. quality of the ingredients it's made with, the bioavailability of each ingredient, and how available it becomes in your body once you've ingested it, basically. So that all counts so much, because some are just, by the time your body digests it and breaks it down, it's very minimal what you're actually getting. So is there any point? No, probably not, So that's another thing also to consider.
Yeah, because I do find that interesting. Sometimes you'll get the very picky about what's in my food, but don't look twice about what you're supplementing in your body. It's quite a contradiction,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I think that's really good advice to give. Nikki, I'm going to start to wrap it up now, because I am very on time, and we've covered so much. I've to all of this. 2019. I'd love to know what your top tips are. Is there any, I hate to use the word trends, but there's always new things coming about that, you feel is beneficial, or is something for people to be looking into or including? I'd love to know, what is it this year in particular, or what are you doing that you feel is of relevance at this time?
Oh, that's a really good question, babe. To be honest, I don't really know. I mean, I know, like you said, it's not a fad or whatever, but I mean, I think there are lots of different things. I think there's definitely in the nutrition space this movement quite heavily, actually. It's already started, and it's quite full on with some certain nutritionists and doctors, but it's this real movement away from good and bad foods, and this real kind of movement towards what we were talking about before, more of a lifestyle approach to life, and making sure that you're not kind of becoming obsessive about one thing or the other, because of the damaging effects that it can have, not only to your body but also to your mind. So I think that's going to be something that people are talking about a lot more and discussing a lot more. I think body image is a huge thing that people are just continuously kind of discussing and talking about. From a holistic perspective, in Bali, sound healing is a really big thing at the moment, and it's becoming quite incorporated into a lot of classes. There's an amazing sound healing, or the different sound healing places that are opening up here. So a lot of people looking into the healing power of sound, which is quite cool, and I'm sure that will also come to Australia soon if it's not already there. And yeah, I think it's just people are just going towards what we're just talking about, really. I think it's more so coming away from the fads and coming back to a balanced reality of what life is, and how can I live the best version of myself, in this life that I have, choosing the things that I don't want to give up and the things that I do like to have. And that creates your platform, which is going to be different to someone else's and different to someone else's,
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that. There is a sound healing place, I think, in Fremantle now.
Right. Yeah, it's quite a big thing here. Sorry, I'm just going to grab my dog. I'll be 2 secs. She's just crying at the door, so you guys can
say hi, Bella. Hey, beautiful.
Hi, guys.
Yeah. She's like, look at me, I'm all flexy and movie now. I'm all relaxed.
No, she's like, Mom, who are you talking to?
Oh, she's so cute.
Where's my ball?
Mine's sitting right here. He's managed to actually stay quiet. He normally barks during these, so he's patiently waiting. Nikki, as always, like I said, I am going to stop asking questions because I'll keep going otherwise, and forever. Where can people find you? Where can they reach out to you? Give us all your socials and your platforms.
For sure. So they can either find me on Instagram, and I'll put it into the comments, or they can go and look at what I do on my website. But if anyone has any questions, I'm running a retreat actually here in September in Ubud, which shows. Hey?
Tell us about that quickly.
So that's going to be a 6-night, that's my Instagram and my website there. But that's going to be a 6-night retreat. It's this amazing 7-villa private estate in Ubud that has our own jacuzzi, our own yoga shala, our own 20 staff, a day spa. But it's the same kind of concept as what I'm doing in Sri Lanka. So it's a mind-body balance retreat. So it is that whole mind-body medicine approach. We do one-on-one consultations. There's quite a rigorous pre-retreat program that you have to do before you come on board. Everyone gets a one-on-one consult with me. There's yoga every day, meditation every day, 2 tours, one to the Pyramids of Chi where we do sound healing, one to go around Ubud and do an Ubud tour and go to the water temples. There's day spa treatments. They've got an organic vegetable garden, so the chefs there do breakfast, lunch, and dinner for everybody included. And then there's 3 or 4 75-minute workshops that I run, each one covering a different aspect. So one of them being like listening to your body, the second one being food and how to identify what foods work for you, the third one being resilience through mindfulness and meditation, and then the last one being goal setting and intention setting, and how to kind of let go of things that aren't serving you and how to move forward in setting goals that align with you. So we kind of cover all of that, and it's very intimate. There's only 12 to 14 women that we can host in the one space, and we have the entire place to ourselves. So it's going to be really special, and it's very intimate. And after 7 days, you actually become like the best of friends. And it's such a nice thing to be able to do. But if you go into my Instagram and click on retreats, there might be a couple of stories from when I was choosing the venue. You'll be able to see a bit of a video of the venue. It's amazing. It's like got this infinity pool that like looks over the jungle with the roaring like Ubud River underneath. And it's just, we'll have a champagne and we'll like do all the fun things.
Oh, I did see the stories. Oh, it looked incredible. I've got to say, my girlfriend says amazing. I know my face is like, what are the dates again? Tell us.
So the dates, it's the first week of September. So the 1st until the 8th, I think, of September. Yeah. So you check in on the 1st and check out on the 8th. Yeah, and everything's included, airport transfers, like everything. You just have to book your flight and jump on to 20% deposit that you pay up front, and then you don't have to pay anything until the end of June. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That sounds incredible. Well, guys, check it out for sure. I'm like, I want to come. I'm going to talk to you about this. But, Nikki, thank you so much. I'm going to let you go so that you can get into the zone for your class tonight. But I'm so grateful for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to jump into my Instagram and just send me a DM with your question. I'd be more than happy to answer.
Awesome. Thank you.